Okay, man. Gonna do an after dinner show. Dessert. Like I didn't feel like turning on the big light, so I said, I know. I go find something bright on the TV, and that'll light me up in the front, so it won't look like I'm in the dark. Like you're just like I'm just sitting here talking anyway, but you've been looking at a dark screen. Well, now you're looking at me. I don't know. You can even tell, but so so I'm pot smoking. So like I got high uric acid levels, processing tons of brain cells and shit. Well, like, and I eat lots of protein. And it's like, because I'm juggling all these different balls in my brain, like my whole life. My brain's always thinking a whole bunch of different stuff going on all the time, real high level type shit, insane shit. Like the brain, it consumed like 20% of your energy or something. They say. So I got mine running on like back then. Oops, sorry. I got a spit cushion because I got phlegmy all the time. It's like it would take up like 0.01% of my life to try to fucking manage it because it's too much. So I put a cushion up there and I just spit at it. I don't have to stop what I'm doing. But nobody's supposed to know about it now. I'm spitting on the goddamn TV, man. So anyway. So the way I always managed it, though, was lots of walking. Walking and thinking. Driving and thinking. Riding and thinking. I find pot. Get older. Get to high school. Well, like 8th grade. And then yeah, 8th grade, that's when I started smoking all the time, yeah. And it was cool, because it cooled the engine down. It's like it took the edge off it all. Made me smile more. But see, it's different too, though. It's like I come up with a lot of cool ideas and shit. Like that's why I wanted to live in the backyard. That was a big part of the inspiration behind doing the suburban plantation thing. Getting high, being hippies in the backyard, and then eventually getting good enough. But see, it's me and my pretty girl, you know, that I steal away from her family. And, you know, so it was like medicinal for the shit. I mean, it's just part of the fucking. Like then when I got into high school, it was like I was looking forward to LSD, because, well, I mean, they started me on LSD. They split me on LSD and the experiments and shit. And the first time I did LSD, oh man, that was weird as shit, I won't go into it, but it was all about them, It was like I unlocked this bunch of stuff that I wasn't supposed to see about my family and my brother. It was this stuff like that they were sitting me down and drilling me about. Do I remember anything about my brother? Because my brother's retarded, and I don't think he was like born that way, but there's a big secret behind it all. And then like it all come out when I first did LSD, but it would, but that was like I'd read about LSD. I knew about LSD. I was waiting to get to high school to try LSD, not to be a druggie, but to see what the fuck it was related to all this shit. And then doing that, I learned about PCP, started doing PCP, and it's like, they all had different effects on what I was thinking about and what I would figure out. But it was always like problematic because a lot of the best stuff that I would figure out, I wouldn't retain very well when I sobered back up again. Developed a lot of attitudes and a lot of different stuff, but the pot was always like, it was just floaty, and I get the best ideas and the best energy, and if I got enough of it to stay buzzed, I wander off on my own and do projects and just, like now, it's like now, like it's legal here in Virginia, and you can grow it, and you can recreation it, and you can medicinal. Like, I stopped smoking pot 25 years ago or something because I stopped drinking and smoking cigarettes. And I figured I couldn't do pot without drinking and smoking, and it didn't dawn on me. Like, because then I was younger, it was mostly pot. And then, but you know, my life turned into more of a beer drinking commercial. And the pot was like in the back. My life wasn't any fun anymore, but the pot kept it light, and the beer kept it numb. And then I quit all that, and then my wife gets fucking cancer, and we get this medicinal oil, and to treat her with. And I had problems too. I mean, and then I'm the one treating her with that, and so I mean, I try it. I remember, oh yeah, this is like what it's like being stoned. Oh yeah, that was so much fun. I can't believe I'm actually stoned without being drunk. Oh, I can be high and not drink or smoke cigarettes. But this stuff was oil. You didn't smoke it. It was like medicinal and shit. Put it in pills. But most of the time it sucked. It make you feel bad. But it would, well, unless you do so little you don't feel it or you used to it. But anyway, so, but it had it did good stuff for me, but sometimes sometimes you got a nice high. Most of the time just it's just helping you and you're not paying no attention to it, or you do too much trying to get the nice high, but you do too much and you feel like crap. Well, you just feel too stoned. You're like 6 stone, feeling bad. And then sometimes hit it right. And then so then she dies and I run out of all that crap. And I hadn't done anything for a while, and oh man, I was just breaking, falling apart, fucking frustrated and angry and cussing, and man, if you were around the house anytime, it was like no fun to be around here. But I don't even really know it. Oh, there you go. And so, I need my bright light back. Oh, wait a minute. So then, And then it dawns on me, you know what? Because I'm all out of the medicinal stuff, you know. Like, what if I smoke some? Like, oh yeah, I used to love smoking, and I'm like, oh no, I wouldn't be tempted to drink or get smoke a cigarette or anything. So I went and I got a little teeny bud, you know, and it was like. Meanwhile, my cat is sick and dying, and I mean, I've been holding them together for years and on this problem, and all the tricks in the book ain't working, and he knows it, and I know it because he's been there before, and I always find a way. And then this time it's like he's fucked, and this is like the same time I get this idea, but so I get the pot, and so the first time I tried, and he's like laying in my lap, and I just smoked it. I didn't like blow it on him or nothing. I'm just smoking it, but he's like laying there because he's always, the cats are always like all up in your shit. I smoked it, and I'm like, and then it came time to like, okay, what you got to like, what do I think he might eat tonight? And he's hoping I'll hit it too. We can tell, it's like we're coming up on it. It's like he's going to be happy if he eats too. We both know what's going on. We've been going through it for so long, and then I give him some food and he eats it all up, and I'm like, and then so I give him some more and he eats that up, and then he goes back to eating, and he and he recovers. Well, it was like, oh my God. It was the pot. It gave him the munchies. And so, and I kept giving it to him, and it kept working, And so I was fucking just like, oh my God, I turned nice again. I started cussing at myself. I was like, yeah, but see, that's the point I'm making. It's like, the medicinal side of it is like, if you need it, fuck it. So anyway, excuse me. It's the best I can do. I'm telling you, man. I'm trying as hard as I can. All right. So, and then, well, I mean, the story, the little bit I had ran out, and I'm like, and then he stops eating again. Oh no. And then I got some, and then he kept eating, and he went for a while, and then I think he got chased by a fucking coyote or something, and it just freaked him all out. He got away. He got wound up in the pond. He got all wet, and he's already all crippled. He shouldn't even be outside, but he won't. He won't leave it alone. He was like a mean, brawling little, but he's one of the scrawny little street fighter, fucking motherfucker, pain in the ass kind of cat, and so then he died, but then it's like. I mean, like right now, then it, like right after that, it went legal. So then, and I started growing it, and, now I got like 4 different kinds that do different stuff, like some I barely feel, but it helps the prostate. Some that I get really nice, beautiful buzz off. It just takes the edge off everything. Other that's anti-inflammatory on the muscles, and the other one's a prostate one. It's just blood flow and blood. It's good. It's medicinal. Doesn't do much. I only got 1.5 that psycho, and the rest of it doesn't do a whole lot. I mean, you do enough of it, you won't be having fun, but so anyway, point is, we got something called the endocannabinoid system. It's in our body. It's an part of our immune system that we don't really use because we don't feed it enough cannabinoids. Well, unless you're doing a bunch of fucking pot and shit, because THCs and CBDs are cannabinoids. And but then you say, well, where did you get this endocannabinoids, endocrine cannabinoid system from? And it's like, well, because hemp used to be like the most traded commodity for thousands of years. Like forever, it was the main commodity of the human race. And for the fiber, for rope, for cloth, for seeds, for food, for everything, getting high, medicinal, everything. But mostly, the reason it was such and so valuable in such quantity was the rope and the food value. See, I throw that in there without knowing for a fact how much of it we consumed. And then they say that there were other foods that had cannabinoids that we don't eat enough of, or we've hybridized the cannabinoid aspects out of it, so we're just not getting enough in our systems to kick in our endocannabinoid. But it's that's my theory, that it comes from hemp seeds, because hemp seeds got a lot of food value and nutritional, medicinal value, and if it was grown in such quantities for rope and hemp, then I'm figuring the seeds got ate a lot, and that's why we have an endocannabinoid system, because the body adapted to using cannabinoids for nutrition and immunotherapy and whatever. But see, then the thing there is that, like, the people that run that old trade system, the people that traded that commodity, the ones who created that market for hemp were the Phoenicians. They are the ones who created the world's economies. They were sea traders, seafaring, traders. They built kingdoms and empires. They supplied kingdoms. Well, see, they're like the alphabet and phonics. You learn phonics when you're a kid. The way they break up the words and shit. I don't even remember what it is, but syllables and stuff like that. Breaking up words, and I guess ing and vowels and A B C D E F G and I've forgotten all that stuff, and I'm like a writer or something. But anyway, so they're the ones that come up with all that for trading. It really is for keeping accounting. They go around, they find the tribe, they find the hunter-gatherers and say, so what do you guys eat? And they say, oh, well, we got this cool berry that grows over here, and then the Phoenicians take it back to their ship, to their scientists and shit, make some cool wine out of that. They say, all right, well, we're gonna give you some beans or beads, or going to trade them something for their berries and shit to make wine from. Go to the next colony, like they traverse all around the Mediterranean, and Spain, France, Ireland, and trading metal and tin and everything. They're like between the time they go from chipping rocks to make axes and shit and fire and first clothes. You know, when they start going upscaling, you know, to like pots and pans and shit, you know, fucking weapons and food and grain and wine and clay bottles to put the wine in, you know, like they were the founders of commerce by the sea. They were sailing people. and they go from like everybody else is just out there running around, you know. And then they show up. Like when the conquistadors come to the Aztecs or the Mayan or whoever, I mean, I forget the ones, but you know, they thought they were gods because they came in the ship and they had prophecies about light-skinned people in a ship who, you know, but I mean, the Mayans and Aztecs were advanced, but they weren't as advanced as the Spanish, you know. So they seen them like gods and shit, you know. So that's like what these people were like, sailing around to the places where people ain't never seen nothing before, because that was like most everywhere, you know. And then he'd go in and teach them stuff and trade lessons and and they'd start this whole seafaring culture and social systems, land system that are all interconnected by trade, but also culture and just commerce. And they invent the alphabet to keep track of debt and, you know, trade. You know, it was more administrative than it evolved into like everything gets named, you know, because they're keeping records of it, you know. And then now everything's got written names, and then people are writing stories and shit, mythology, you know, like civilization has taken off. And these Phoenicians at the center of it, trading all this hemp, eating all these seeds from the hemp. And they're like see, Fontaines, like the Knights Templar and like Saint Bernard de Clairvaux, whose original name was Saint Bernard de Fontaine. The original 11 Templars were all like his relatives. They was all like with this one little clan of people. They were all related to each other out of the same Fontaine region of France. And, you know, when they were like, they were the original Templars, just them, for a long time until St. Bernard got them sanctioned by the Pope, and they were able to start going out and recruiting people in the name of the church and shit. But it was just them that they went down to Temple of Solomon, and they, I don't know, dug tunnels and dug up secret Jesus mysteries and shit like you see in what's that one? The fucking Da Vinci Code and shit. and National Treasure. Well, that was Da Vinci Code. Yeah, that Dan Brown, he's the one that goes into all that stuff in a couple of movies, Angels and the Demons, and but the Fontaines who founded the World Bank we have now. See, Fontaine is a cognate of Phoenician. It's the same name thousands of years later. You know, it's Fontaine Phoenician. There, it's like, you know, the Knights Templar, and it was like that. They're the ones who started all this stuff. You know, they're the ones who started it all. as Phoenicians from the sea. Like they're the ones who brought everybody out, or brought a lot of people out of being going from chimpanzees to hunter-gatherers to civilized and shit. Excuse me. I don't want it to black out again. She sure is pretty. Oh. Oh. Anyway, so it's all a continuation, But I mean, the Phoenicians go back thousands of years before Knights Templar. The Phoenicians were before, they were like Israel. They were the Canaanites. Which is like the Jews. Before the Jews, it's like really Jews are a Canaanite, like the Canaanites were wicked. Well, there was child sacrifice, human sacrifice, cannibalism, stuff that came from sea people culture. Like it's sea. Part of your culture as a sea people back then was eating each other to survive if you have to. And sacrificing babies you're not going to be able to feed and eating them too. I mean, because it's like tough at sea. It's like it's a real lucrative. Like but everybody knows. It's like lots of people die sailing, trying to make money around the world throughout time, and you wonder why they do it. And it's like, well, because all the motherfuckers that made it got fucking fat, and they didn't have to eat their babies, or they didn't get into them dire situations, so they did, and they survived. But there's more of the motherfuckers down at the bottom of the sea. That's the way it is, And so they bring their habits with them on shore, like because Israel, Canaan was like their one of their main ports, and well, that was their original. Well, I mean, that's all a whole another long story how they colonized the Mediterranean and shit. It's like, but I mean, they're like the sea people that run it all. But then they got colony. They colonize places, or they become part of other. But like Canaan is like the story of Cain and Abel, and then it's like Cain and Abel, cannibal. See, because like. They had this thing like Cain was he grew vegetables. He was a farmer, and Abel was a herder. And then God come to him and said, both of you make me some shit. Make me something to eat out of what you do, But you grow, make me some soup. And then, so they make him some soup. And God chooses Abel's meat soup over Abel's vegetable soup. And so Cain kills Abel. Now, what they leave out the story, in my opinion, is that, well, they didn't want to say cannibal soup. They didn't want to say people soup or animal. You know, it's like uh, they don't want to tell the whole story. You know, so they left out the meat that was in Cain's soup. And so God, it's a story of God saying, "No more people eating." You know, it's like that shit's for its seed. These landlubbers, the people they colonize, you know, the hunter-gatherers that they come in and teach a bunch of stuff and marry into, and they all become one tribe and shit, and then like other tribes, and like, because right there at Israel, right in that whole region, that's the cross current of Africa. That's like the most diverse genetics anywhere are there, because everybody has passed through there so many times, you know, because you have to go through there to get around to other parts of the world, unless you can sail. You know, so, and it's like, nobody liked that baby sacrificing. You know, they didn't like all that shit. The baby sacrificing, the cannibal. They didn't. It wasn't work. It wasn't good for trade. You know, so. But then they come down to a big thing like, well, it's our culture. You know, they're looking at it like, well, you eat the animals. You know, I mean, it's just meat. You know, I mean, there's all kind of ways to look at it. And they'd been doing it for thousands of years, and they paid their dues building civilization, you know, and so, but it became a split, you know, and so, and that's where you get like chosen people from, the Jews. They're like, when they split, the chosen people, they're the ones like, you're gonna go with you're gonna stop eating people. You know, and it's like, well, what about our God? What about our God? You know, it's like, okay, well, so then they did circumcision. That's where the whole circumcision shit comes from, to take that little piece of meat there. Like the God that got banished was Moloch, the great big metal god that they burned a big roaring fire inside, and they threw the babies in there, burned them up, you know, sacrificed the babies, you know. That was like the big thing that got everybody in trouble, you know, old Moloch. And so like even today, you have like a real Jewish circumcision will involve a special rabbi called a moil, you know, like Moloch, a moil. And the moil comes and it does the circumcision and then sucks the blood out of the baby's little dick, under some kind of thesis, to wit, the spit, it had to do it to prevent infection, you know. It's like, okay. But it's not homo either, or not supposed to be. But because my opinion is that that old Moloch, the great big monster made out of metal with the fire roaring, is you dump your baby in there, you pay your dues, you know, you don't sacrifice your kid, you in fucking trouble, you know, and so then you put your baby in there when it comes to be baby sacrificing season and shit. And it falls in the fire, and the fire roars and shit, but really the baby falls through a little door. And they got an animal, and then an animal falls down from hidden inside there to smell like meat. But the baby falls through the little door. And that's how the priests get their little boys and shit. And then they eat them up. They roast it up good. In order to satisfy their gods and not upset everybody, you know. Well, you know, they're upset anyway, but they don't want everybody to know what they're really doing. And so, So that becomes the moil, he's sucking that baby's dick is just getting that blood out there to so he can, so they can say they paid their dues to the god, without anybody being the wiser, because they because they're not worshiping, because they're not sacrificing the babies no more, and so that's the whole circumcision thing is you're paying it's your pound of flesh, it's your it's so you don't have to give them your bait, the children anymore. You just give up the foreskin. It's like, well, that's the Jewish way is with the moil, but then when Christians come along, then they adapt it. Without the moil, they don't even know why they're doing it. They just because Jews do it. You can't be a Jew without circumcision. So anyway, so that's like, and so then the Jews go on. They like Cain, who's killed Abel. Cain that killed Abel, gets cursed to roam the earth for till the end of the world, till the end of time. Doesn't get to die, and that's the sea trader, like they banished those laws to the sea. They banished those practices secret. They're banished to secret sea rituals. And then the other Jews, the other Canaanites become Jews, and they're going to be the administrative. They became the administrative part of the trade organization, the World Trade Organization. They, Jews set up in all the little kingdoms everywhere you go that had economies, modern kinds of economies. With kings and all that stuff, it was like the Jews were the ones that knew how to set all that stuff up. They were the branch of the organization, of the industry of the this World Trade Organization, and and it was extensive, but a lot of it's just cultural, just. Organic, it's just like giving animals a toy and they all figure out how to play with it, and then they start figuring out their own stuff, but you've been doing it that the most about them, so you know how to take advantage of all their assets and stuff, like you've been doing it for thousands of years and keeping records and teaching, handing stuff down, and you got your secret side of it, and then you got your administrative side, but a lot of it's like intelligence and clandestine, and it's some in-depth shit, but that where I'm come from and going with it all is like laying the foundation for this whole Y2K, fake the end of the world, who's behind it, why. It's more than you think, see, because you just think it is. It's just a bunch of fucktard assholes. But it has its origins, like had said earlier, I could see the problems. And I warned them, I was like, I'll fucking stop, I'm better than you at all this. I'm smarter. You need my help to get this done right. And they took offense to it. Because they listen until the point comes down to basically, because you guys are fucking idiots. It's like, that's the problem. You need somebody who's not an idiot telling you what to fucking do, and you need to fucking do it. And I'm the only one who knows. And they're like, well, we're not doing that. And I was like, then I'm gonna fuck your whole game up. Oh yeah, right. You against all of us. I'm like, yeah, that's how fucking stupid you motherfucker. I mean, I always tell him, like, but that's part strategy too. But so that they can remember to look back as the years go on. I mean, I'm a kid and a teenager, but as I get older and they watch and they scratch their head, and then when I even get older, when shit starts to actually go down, they're like, this is what that motherfucker was talking about all that time, isn't he? Well, see, then they start betting against you because they figure it, you can't last. Like 40 years later, you're still kicking the goddamn dog shit out of them. and now they're just, I mean, as you see, what happened to Y2K? What happened there? Yeah. Yeah, but they've tried a bunch of times. I mean, you can look out there now. They're trying. Like everybody can see. Everybody's thinking, is the end of the world going to be in a few days at this election? It's like everybody, without thinking biblical, you're thinking something's going to go wrong and fuck everything up. If it's ever going to happen, it's going to happen anytime now. It's like, well, yeah. If you go back and look at a whole lot of different stats. You cross that after the year 2000, there's like all this extracurricular, fucking insane, stupid shit because these motherfuckers like they won't tip it over, like they, anyway. So that's laying the foundation for the Y2K part that I already told you about, but I haven't told you the one detail. And I'll save it. I'll fucking save it. It sure is pretty neat. See, she's sitting on a chessboard. All right.